So apparently there was a leak not too long ago about the possibility for another Armored Core game, which I'm sure has Armored Core fans in a tizzy and in a frenzy, wondering if the next FromSoft game will be a callback to the Armored Core series and perhaps another Armored Core game in the franchise. That's kind of exciting because I never really played any Armored Core, I think, besides the first Armored Core on the original PlayStation. So for me, this is kind of like, it'd be very, very cool to have Armored Core back in our repertoire, back in our stable of games. And so that segues me into today's song, which is Fall from Armored Core 4. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so a few things right off the bat. I think using an electric guitar, as we know it, coupled with orchestration and violins and a classical sound is very, very interesting. And I think this drum beat, to me, sounds like weapons firing. It sounds like machine gun going. It sounds like a fall. This, to me, feels like some sort of battle between, I don't know, like opposing factions or opposing mechs. There's definitely this, but then you've got this very distanced vocal melody that, to me, I'm wondering if this isn't like a callback to another song that played earlier in the game, and it's at a distance and it's a variation on a theme, and maybe that connects. Maybe we're fighting against a friend. Maybe we're fighting against some sort of like something that used to be a friend that now is an enemy, or I don't know. There's a bit of this like very interesting tension in here. Very clearly, it is a battle, or it's like getting ready to go into battle. But based on what I remember from my previous Armored Core reaction video, this is a common thing, that this is like some sort of a battle theme, and that most of the music is occurring within the battle itself. So let me keep going. So we've reached this middle point, or I think a repetition of the original melody, and we're all coming together here to a second verse. But I think it's pretty cool that we start off with those voices in the distance, and then we shift and then we have the voices front and center. And I think the use of tension here is this is so interesting because there are classical elements while also having this very modern sound. And I think what's cool too is that the orchestra underneath is actually backing what's happening in a bit of a cacophonous way. The orchestra is backing this cacophonous sound over top with this pop modern sound. Boom, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum. The melody is the rhythm and the notes that are playing are all stepwise motion, and they're all succinct, and they're all repeating. That's that bass grounding, which then allows everything else over top of it to sort of do what it's doing. And I think that that's really fun that we have this layer that is essentially unchanging ostinato and sort of existing within to prop up this music. And then we have the vocals and the guitar and the drums over top. That feeling of propulsion is here, and I think now that the song, I'm really starting to listen to it in a deeper way. To me, this heaviness that I hear in the electric guitar and in this ba 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 bum ba 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 bum. It's a few things to me. It's the mech size, sound, the stomping on the ground, the firing of the guns, the turning sharply or whatever. You've got that quality in there. Then you've got the atmospheric battle quality in there. And that propulsion and that forward momentum here is keeping the battle alive to us as listeners while we are playing the game and while we are experiencing the fight firsthand. That is keeping the tension moving so that we are continuing to be on the edge of our seat, as it were. Oh, and I should say too, there's some syncopation that's occurring there in the drums, and also here we're shifting rhythm and meter, and I think that too. I think this is like about us, turning on a dime and thinking on our feet. There's these shifts that have to occur because in battle you can't sit idle and just expect the same thing that has happened to continue to happen. There's always surprises. We're always going to be sort of catching ourselves off guard or being caught off guard or having to stay on our toes, and that syncopated rhythm and that meter change that occurs, I think, is relating to that. That's cool too. Hum, bum. There's always tension there. There's always this continuing feeling of like, is this really the end of the battle? Yeah, I really do hope that the next series that FromSoft kind of builds off of is a new Armored Core. I think that there is a whole world of people that should experience these games and appreciate these games for, the sort of the masterpieces that they are. I mean, they're not games that I understand or know, but I know that these games were pivotally important for a lot of people, and that's the cool thing about music, whether it's got just symphonic work, or it's got or it's a pop song, or it's got this sort of amalgamation of pop sound with electric guitar and orchestra underneath and percussion, all of these things are all used to create an emotional response in a player and allow us to feel things while experiencing a game with whatever emotion that the game designers and the composer wants us to feel. That's what they're teasing out, and that's what they're hoping that we connect with and feel when we're playing. Anyway, as always, that's me. If you want to support the channel, there's links in the About section. If you want to join the Discord, feel free. And as always, thanks a ton. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.